Much of human history in the Destiny lore is tied into the events of the real world, all of which occurred up until the discovery of the Traveler. This set into motion events that separate our reality with that of the Destiny worldline. But what exactly happened that launched humanity into the climate we see in the current Destiny timeline? How did they become so scarce, and why are they so mainly confined behind the walls of the great city? Well, stick around because we will be answering all these questions on this episode of Destiny Lore. So sit back, stay tuned, and as always, welcome to the Lore Lounge. During humanity's initial attempts to spread out into the stars, they started to get strange readings of an unknown object entering the solar system. The object was performing inscrutable activities on our neighboring planets, so humanity sent out a mission with a small team of 3 led by Captain Jacob Hardy. This was known as the Ares 1 mission. Now the Ares 1 mission set its sights on Mars to intercept the Traveler, and assess the object whether or not it would prove hostile. As they landed on Mars, they set out on foot to discover the strange object. It was here that humanity had its first encounter with the Traveler and witnessed firsthand its splendor. As they approached the top of a Martian ridge, the Traveler came into view, and what they witnessed they could not help but marvel. They came upon the Traveler terraforming the planet, and before their very eyes they witnessed the first rains on the once desert planet. With the discovery of the Traveler, it launched humanity into a glorious time of harmony and adventure, known as the Golden Age. One of the first noticeable changes was the human lifespan. Human longevity almost instantly reached an average of 300 years. And during this time, the United Nations set up colonies of humanity among the galaxy, on the now newly terraformed planets and moons. In this time, we created technology that had staggering leaps and bounds, from the creation of the first artificial intelligence, called warminds, to the manipulation of antimatter. It was truly an amazing era for humanity. Much of the technologies in the Destiny games can have their origins traced back to the Golden Age. For example, the nanotechnology that built great cities, called Siva, warp drives for space travel, Rasputin, the greatest of the warminds, as well as glimmer and engrams that were programmable matter that were used in just about every facet of human technology. Now, if history is any indication, whenever we come upon times of great prosperity, there is always darkness lurking around the corner. And eventually the darkness came, bringing an end to the once great golden age of humanity. The Vex came to the solar system initially in peace to survey the newly terraformed worlds. But at the beginning of the collapse, they became hostile and succeeded in conquering many worlds through great wars. So Rasputin took humanity out into the stars to escape the warring worlds. However, no known ships housing these colonies escaped. They were trapped and most of them died in the asteroid belt. The ones who survived and were brought back by the Traveler's light were reborn as the Awoken and banded together, creating what is now known as the Reef, whose history we learned about in the past Destiny lore episode. So the Darkness and the Vex were very quickly destroying the great civilizations on these new worlds. It was at this time that humanity received reports from a Titan science center of an anomaly that was being fought against by Rasputin and his warminds. Rasputin allied with the Traveler to fight the Darkness, but in doing so all of the warminds had been destroyed, and Rasputin barely escaped and went into hibernation. The Traveler, on the other hand, stuck through the war and did not abandon humanity, and in its last great attempt used its light to cast the Darkness out just to the edge of the asteroid belt and into the Great Dark. After the warring had ended, humanity was weak and remained few, with only remnants of their once advanced civilization being left behind. But they banded together, and in doing so they salvaged whatever they could and rebuilt. Small cities were resurrected among the great worlds, and around this time the Fallen emerged and joined in on picking at the remains of the Golden Age technologies. Eventually, warring factions rose to power on Earth, led by vicious rulers. This was also the time we start seeing the first of the Guardians coming into existence. They banded together to create the Iron Lords and fought against these warlords trying to rule over humanity. The Iron Lords succeeded in destroying these factions and became the protectors of humanity. Finally, humanity was starting to come back from the chaos. They gathered together under the Traveler and built great walls to protect their new city. New factions were formed and humanity was safe under the Traveler with the protection of the Guardians. Now, eventually these factions started to secede, which led to further wars until the fallen House of Devils attacked, leading to the Battle of Six Fronts and eventually the Battle of Twilight Gap. Now during this time, the people of the city united and formed the Census and the Vanguard to lead them through these wars. And after the Great Disaster in Twilight Gap, humanity has held on and slowly spread back into the solar system, but always remains united to ensure their survival even to this day. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date on future episodes of Destiny lore. Also, leave a comment below telling us your thoughts on Destiny lore and what you'd like to see in future episodes. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time in the Lore Lounge.